All right, guys. So let's talk about linear and non-linear. Okay. So this is linear, a straight line with no bends in it. I know I should have used a ruler, but that's fine. So this is linear, okay? Straight line. This graph right here would be considered non-linear, okay? Because it's not a straight line. It has bends in it and curves, okay? This one down here would also be non-linear, okay? Now the second thing you have to identify when you see a graph is if it is a function or not, okay? So the way that you can see if it's a function, you hold the line that's up and down and you slide it across. You see how it's just this line that I'm putting out is only touching it once? Okay, no matter where I put it, up and down wise, it's only touching the line once. So this is a function because x doesn't have two solutions. Let's check this other one over here. So if I'm here, it's only touching it one time, all the way through the line. No matter where I put it, if I put it here, this line is only touching once. If I put it over here, it's only touching once. Now, so this is also a function. So linear, non-linear, function, function. Okay? I'll show you what it looks like when something is not a function. Look, you see, if I put it right here, how many times is this line touching the graphed line? It's touching it once, twice. I can put it over here. It's also touching it once, twice. It is not allowed to do that. Okay, so that is not a function. It doesn't pass the vertical line test. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part is being able to find out if something is linear, what its slope is, and what its y-intercept is, just from a chart. Okay, so linear means it increases the same rate all the way through. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just going up 1 every single time. This one is -2, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. This is also going up 2 every single time. So because the pattern is consistent all the way through the left and the right, this is going to be linear. So it's a straight line, okay? Because if it increases consistently, it'll create a straight line. If it goes up and then down and then this, and it'll create something like this. So that's how we know it's linear. Now let's find the slope. Pick 2 random spots, okay? So we'll do y first. How does a -2 turn into a 0? Okay? It goes up 2, right? So we're going to put +2 on the top. All right? This is how you do slope. So how does a -2 get over here with only adding or subtracting? It adds 2, right? So there it is. Or you can ask yourself, how does a 0 turn into 2? It adds 2. Or you can ask yourself, how does 2 turn into 4? It adds 2. So every single one is adding 2. What about this one? X is going to go at the bottom of the fraction. Remember that y is on the top and x is in the bottom. The change in y and the change in x. Okay, so what's the change in x? It goes up what? Up 1 every single time. So it's going to be 2 over 1. So the slope is 2 over 1, or what's 2 divided by 1? You can also write it as the slope is 2. The y-intercept, okay, let me show you the y-intercept. The y-intercept is always where x is 0. So you find out where x equals 0. So x equals 0 here. So the y-intercept is -2. So that's how you check if something's linear. That's how you find its slope. And that's how you find the y-intercept. Okay? So now let's do all 3 of those things here. Is this linear? Yup. What is the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is going to be 1. Okay, you see how this is 0, this is 1. When does this line hit the vertical line? Oh, it's right there. The answer is 1. So the y-intercept is 1. What is is it linear? Yes, it is linear. Okay, now we're going to check what the slope is. Now you got to find another dot on this. Okay, so another dot would be maybe here and here. Yeah, there's another one. That, I can tell you both numbers for that point. Okay, so here's the first dot. Here's the second dot. How does this first dot get to this second dot? So let's check. It goes up 2, so we're going to write up 2. Okay? This is going to be the slope, and it's going to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to the right 4. So the slope is 2 over 4. Now you can simplify that because they're both divisible by 2, so it's going to become 1 over 2. So here's the slope. Is it linear? Yes. Does it have a y-intercept? Yep, it's right there at 1. Okay? Let's do all of this in the equation now. Now in the equation, okay, how do you find the slope? It's the number next to x, so the slope is 2. How do you find the y-intercept? It's the number all by itself, the negative 3. So the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 3. Pretty easy. How do you know if it's linear? You know if it's linear, it's allowed to multiply anything with x, you're allowed to add anything with x, you're allowed to subtract anything with x, you're allowed to divide anything to x. What you're not allowed to have is an exponent, a square root, or any kind of root, or have x at the bottom of a fraction. These things are not allowed. If this happens at any time, it is not going to be linear. Okay, last thing I got to do is we're going to write slope-intercept form, which we just saw a couple minutes ago. The slope goes here next to x, and the y-intercept goes here. But how am I going to find that with these 2 points? Let me show you. So the first thing you have to find is the slope. So we're going to do, remember, the change in y divided by the change in x. So let's find out what the change in y was. How did a 7 turn into a 10? It went up 3, right? So I'm going to put a 3 here. A 3 goes on top. Then you go to x's here. How does a 2 turn into a 4? Well, it goes up 2. So that's going to be on the bottom here. So the slope here is 3 over 2. So now I know this. Y equals 3 over 2x plus b. Okay? Now I have to figure out what b is because I need both parts of this formula. So this is going to be very easy. I pick one of these points, these or these. Remember that this is x and this is y. So I'm going to pick these because I marked them already. So we're going to replace x with 2 because 2 is x. We're going to replace 7 with y because 7 is y. So I'm going to write this equation again, replacing the things we just talked about. So y is going to be 7, 3 over 2. Instead of 3 over 2 times x, I'm going to write 3 over 2 times 2 plus b. So 3 over 2 times 2 is going to make 6 over 2. So this is going to make 6 over 2. Okay? Do you know what 6 over 2 is? It's 3. So actually, it's going to be 3 here. So 3, I didn't do anything with this, so it's going to come down, plus b equals 7. 3 plus something equals 7. I know you know the answer is 4, but just to check, I'm going to subtract 3, 7, not 7. It's going to be 4 equals b. Okay? I think I slid off screen for the second there. So 4 equals b. So now I have b. So I have the y-intercept and I have the slope. So now I can write the full slope formula. So y equals 3 over 2 x plus 4. And there's my final answer. I'm going to do it one more time here. So remember, change in y divided by change in x. So 2 to 7 is up 5, so positive 5. 3 to 4 is up 1, so this is just going to make 5. So the slope is 5. So now I have this, 5x plus b. Still missing that b. So let's plug a number in. Let's plug in this one. Remember, this is x, this is y. I'm going to replace 3 with x because 3 is x. I'm going to replace 2 with y because 2 is y. So 2 is y. 5 times x is now going to turn into 5 times 3 plus b. Then we are going to multiply 5 times 3, that makes 15. So I'm left with 15 plus b equals 2. How do we get rid of a 15? We subtract 15. Subtract 15. We get negative 13 equals b. So now I have b. So if I have b and I have the slope, I can write the formula. The formula is y equals 5x minus 13. You see how I replaced the plus b with a minus 13? And there it is. We're done.